They say time waits for no one, but most of us live as if we will have it forever. We delay dreams, postpone purpose, and waste hours on things that don't matter, thinking we still have plenty of time. But what if one day you could see exactly how much time you had left? This is the story of a young man who did, and how a quiet encounter with an old monk changed his life forever. The alarm buzzed at 6 a.m. Felix groaned, reached out, and hit snooze. "Just 10 more minutes," he whispered. 10 minutes became 30. 30 became an hour. By the time he finally got out of bed, the sun was high, and another morning had slipped away. Felix had goals, big ones. He dreamed of starting a business, getting fit, traveling, learning something new. But there was always tomorrow. Tomorrow was safer. Tomorrow had no pressure. So he scrolled his phone, checked notifications, watched videos, and drifted through another day doing nothing that really mattered. Days became weeks, and weeks became months. The weight of his wasted time slowly grew heavier, but he ignored it, until one morning, something inside him snapped. He looked at himself in the mirror and felt a deep emptiness. He wasn't living. He was simply existing. Tired of his routine, Felix decided to clear his mind. He packed a small bag and took a trip to the mountains, hoping a few days away would help him think. After a long hike, he came across an old monastery located among pine trees. The place was peaceful, so still that even the wind seemed to whisper softly. He stood at the gate, staring at the old wooden doors, when an elderly monk appeared from inside. His robe was plain, and his steps were slow, but his eyes, which were calm and bright, seemed to see right through Felix. "Lost?" the monk asked gently. Felix hesitated. "Not really, just tired, I guess." The monk smiled. "Then rest. The mountain has time for you, even if you have none for it." He invited Felix inside and served him a cup of tea. The small courtyard was filled with flowers, and a quiet fountain trickled nearby. Time felt different there, slower, almost sacred. The monk noticed Felix staring at his wristwatch. "You keep looking at that," he said softly. "But have you ever truly seen it?" Felix frowned. "It's just a watch." The monk nodded. "Yes, but it doesn't measure hours, it measures life." Those words hit deeper than Felix expected. They sat in silence for a while before the monk spoke again. "Tell me, young man, what do you do with your time?" Felix shrugged. "I don't know. I work sometimes, I watch things online, hang out with friends. I guess I waste some of it." The monk smiled faintly. "We all do. But the danger is not in wasting time. It is in forgetting that we are." He stood, motioned for Felix to follow, and led him to a quiet garden behind the monastery. There, beside a stone bench, was a tall bronze clock, not ticking, but glowing faintly in the sunlight. The monk said, "Close your eyes." Felix obeyed. "Now," the monk whispered, "imagine that above your head, there's a clock counting down. Not forward, down. Every second it loses, you will never get back. Every distraction, every delay, every moment spent on what doesn't matter, it all costs you a piece of your future." Felix opened his eyes, and for a moment, it was as if he really saw it. A faint, golden clock hovering above him, the numbers dropping with every breath. He blinked, and it vanished. He stared at the monk, shaken. "I saw it. I actually saw it." The monk smiled knowingly. "You didn't see it with your eyes. You saw it with awareness. You felt what most people never do, the truth that time is not infinite." Felix sat down, speechless. The monk continued. "Every day, people say I'll start tomorrow, not realizing that tomorrow is a privilege borrowed from the future. They treat time like a loan that never runs out. But every loan has an end." Felix looked down. "I've wasted so much already." The monk placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then stop wasting more. You can't change the minutes that are gone, but you can decide how the next one is spent." Those words burned into his heart. That evening, Felix stayed in the monastery. He helped in the garden, joined the monks for a simple meal, and listened as they chanted prayers before sleep. No phones, no distractions, just silence and intention. When he awoke at dawn, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: clarity. The air was cool, the world quiet, and for the first time, time didn't feel like an enemy. It felt like a gift. He found the monk sitting near the fountain, meditating. Felix joined him quietly. After a while, he whispered, "How do I live without wasting time?" The monk opened his eyes. "You don't stop wasting time by counting minutes. You stop by filling them with purpose, with presence, with love. Don't try to stretch life. Make it worth living." When Felix left the monastery that day, he was a changed man. He began waking up early, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He stopped scrolling mindlessly and started building the business he had always talked about. He visited his family more often, called his mother regularly, and spent time learning, creating, growing. His life didn't become perfect, but it became meaningful. Months later, Felix returned to the mountain to thank the monk. But when he arrived, one of the younger monks told him the old teacher had passed away quietly in his sleep. Felix stood there, staring at the garden where they had first spoken. A soft breeze brushed his face, and in that moment, he looked up and could almost feel the invisible clock above his head, ticking, steady, patient, real. He smiled. "Thank you, master," he whispered. "I understand now." Felix turned to leave, feeling the weight of every second and the beauty of every breath. Most of us will never meet a monk to remind us that time is short. But the truth remains: every wasted minute is borrowed from your future. And one day, you'll run out of loans. So live with urgency. Love with purpose. Wake up before the clock runs out. Because you don't own time, you're only borrowing it.